This video was brought to you by With Him Moreland Construction and Services LLC. If you have any housing projects which include an interior or an exterior remodel, if you need a brand new roof, if you need any electrical services or just anything around the house, don't tackle on that house project by yourself. Give these guys a call at 501-326-4533. They will also include a free inspection upon arrival. Also brought to you by Superior RV in Conway, Arkansas. Get pre-qualified for an RV within seconds. No effect on your credit score. No need for a social security number or date of birth. Give these guys a call at 501-214-8153 or visit their website at rvbestbuy.com. Also, support our other sponsors here. They work hard to make sure that our page is running, which in return keeps you guys safe during the big events, severe and winter weather alike. If you need additional business, if you have a small business or a big business, give us an email at info@arkansasweatherwatchers.org. Well, good evening, Arkansas. This is Chief Forecaster Cameron
and Derek here once again. Overall, today has been relatively on the nice side. Lots of sunshine and warm temperatures across much of the state. And obviously, as you can see on our sky cam there this evening, a very nice evening. We're really outside to get out and do stuff.
Yep, definitely. So we got temperatures right now in the 60s and 70s across the area. It was a very warm day, like Derek just mentioned. Temperatures got into the low 80s today. I think there was some place, I think down in southwest Arkansas, got into the mid 80s today, actually. A couple of things have happened over the last couple of hours, or even throughout the day today, where this morning it looked like we were going to see a good amount of shower and thunderstorm activity down in southern and southwest Arkansas. We had the slight risk with the large hail potential hatched for the significant large hail. Well, about that, we can talk about the current radar right now, Derek, if you want to talk more about that.
So, biggest thing is that we're seeing on the radar right now is nothing. We do have that slight risk that is still there, and the marginal risk surrounding that. That is for that large hail threat as well as damaging winds and the threat of a tornado or two. Now, that being said, though, if you notice, we're not seeing that right now. Overall risk area right now is hardly has anything in it except as you go down into Texas and eventually down into Louisiana. Mm-hmm. So what has happened is as I mentioned in the forecast as well, our capping inversion determines a lot of makes or breaks really a lot of severe weather events, and that's what we are seeing this evening. Even overall, we don't have a lot of warnings across Texas this evening, and really your large hail threat is really not there.
Yep. And you can see it, and we got this pulled up on our software here, guys. So basically, you see all that blue, even the greenish tint. Basically, what that means is there's a lid in place across the area right now. Well, obviously, where you see your storms down there in eastern northeast Texas, there's no blue. That means that the cap has broken. But for us here in Arkansas, it's a pretty strong cap in place. There's a lot of blue across the area here. So what does that mean going into tonight? We could still see that isolated strong thunderstorm or two, especially in southwest Arkansas, up to the central Arkansas area, especially later on tonight. As your atmosphere starts to cool off, your system's kind of departing through the area here. But in terms of widespread severe weather, etc., like that, we are not expecting that for tonight here. But we are going to be talking about Friday's threat here. Friday's threat, especially for our folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, could be rather significant as we're moving Friday evening into Friday night here.
So biggest thing that we've seen over the past really 72 hours has been that shift east, and it's not necessarily a shift. So it's not necessarily that the system is weakening. It is that one, we have what is called a dry line. This is very similar setup to what you get in the plains. That is going to be moving east. So what's happening is with the system moving east, that's where your severe threat is going to set up. And right now, the biggest determination is where does that dry line stall out? Wherever it stalls out is where your greatest risk of severe storms is going to be as we head into Friday afternoon, evening, and into the overnight hours. But the question going to be is, will that be in West Arkansas? Obviously, we are transitioning away from West Arkansas, with the most likely scenario is it ends up stalling out somewhere across the central third of the state.
Yeah. So basically what I've done is I've drawn out a couple of areas here. Number one, your timing is going to be up here from about 6. We're going to go about 6 p.m. Friday evening to about 3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning here. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be a lot that's going to happen over the next 24 to even 36 hours here. The system could slow down. You can get more moisture than expected. I've seen this. We saw this back even with some of the bigger events. I've always noticed that storms like to initiate further west than what the model data likes to put out. So it kind of happened with March 31st. We had every piece of data saying that it was going to be all in eastern Arkansas, northeast Arkansas. Then we got to the day of the event, and then all of a sudden everything started initiating out west. So there's a lot of things that still need to come together over the next 24 to 36 hours. But if I'm in eastern Arkansas in this red zone, which I'm going to be honest with you, and Derek, you may have the same feeling as well, I will be willing to bet probably somebody in this general area up here may get upgraded to a 4 at some given point once we get an idea on where storms are going to initiate. Are they going to break the cap? If they do break the cap, what is the ceiling of the event here? And it's rather significant. It's a very, very, very significant ceiling that we're going to be dealing with this year. So we'll keep an eye on it. But our concern for our folks up here in Northeast Arkansas tonight, what I would recommend doing is making sure you're going over your severe weather plans. You're cleaning out your storm shelters just to be on the safe side for our folks over here in Eastern and Northeastern Arkansas.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And again, the biggest thing, Cameron, that we have talked about over the past few days is that, we're not going to see a lot of storms.
Correct.
We're going to have 2, 3, or 4 storms, but the spacing between those storms is the ceiling would be that large hail threat, that tornado threat, the potential of a strong tornado with this as well. Your ceiling is high. It's just a matter of can we get storms to actually form in the environment that will be presented. This eerily reminds me of that March 31st setup. However, not as widespread, as it was.
Yeah. So what we're going to do here, I meant to give me just 1 second. I've got to go back to our graphics here. So I meant to do this first, which is going to be our weather headlines here for this evening here. So first off, the 1 week's going to continue no matter what. We got to get into the weekend. We got a cold front that's going to push through, but it's not going to bring a lot of cold air with it. Temperatures are going to go back to the 50s and 60s for highs, and we're not losing the 30s. Then you're going to rapidly warm back up as we move into next week here. So those cold weather lovers, it's just going to be here for just that short period of time, and it's going to warm right back up next week here. Derek, if you want to talk about the wind potential as we move into late Friday and Saturday, especially for our folks in western and northwestern Arkansas.
So behind our dry line, one thing about it is, especially across places like Kansas, Texas, West Arkansas, Oklahoma, you are going to be dealing with a windstorm. Basically, what's going to be, it is going to be sunny, partly cloudy sky, it's going to be nice and warm, but the problem is you have a very strong area of low pressure moving through the Central Plains into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley.
Yep.
What that's going to do is create a lot of wind at the surface. So really what's going to happen is you will have high fire danger coupled with winds of 40 to 60 miles per hour. And as a matter of fact, the wind watch for Northwest Arkansas states you could get gusts up to 80 miles per hour. So we're talking, severe thunderstorm winds, but over the course of an entire day.
Yeah.
We're talking of tropical storm force to hurricane force winds over the course of an entire day. Therefore, even if we don't get severe storms, you will be dealing with those high winds, especially across the Ozark Mountains, parts of the Washtenaw, down into the River Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you move further east, in places like Central Arkansas, East Arkansas, you still will be dealing with those 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, non-thunderstorm winds. So again, regardless of severe threat, we will be dealing with that high wind threat. So power outages are expected across a large part of the state.
Yeah. So along with that, with talking about the severe weather day, we're still going to have the severe weather alert day in place for Friday, especially for our folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas. Like Derek mentioned before, this is going to be a situation where not every single person in Arkansas is going to see rain on Friday. There may be a situation you go through the entire day on Friday where it's just sunny and clear. That's it. And you just get a wind shift with this. It's kind of eerily similar, like Derek mentioned before, the January 2020 system that brought the tornado during Jonesboro. This is also eerily similar to what you would see out west. we'll have an Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas threat, and you'll have the dry line. So you're getting that here in Arkansas. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a couple of storms that are going to go up on Friday. Whatever goes up on Friday and breaks the cap is instantly going to have a tornado threat. That's just a guarantee. You're going to have the shear in place. You're going to have the sufficient instability. You're going to have everything in place. All the soundings match it. So what's going to happen is once we get a better area of confidence of like, hey, this is where storms will fire, will go off, that's why we think an upgrade to a 4 will more likely be probable, especially for our folks in Northeast Arkansas, the Missouri Boot Hill, the Ohio Valley, those areas up there where the storms look like they're going to be the potential, but we'll keep an eye on that. But regardless, any storm that fires on Friday evening and Friday night will carry that all hazards threat from eastern and northeast Arkansas down into southern and southeastern Arkansas as well here, guys. So if you give me just 1 second, there we go. So we have that, and like I said before, there's the forecast for tonight. Derek, if you want to talk more about that, especially for our folks in central and southern Arkansas.
So again, as we go into the overnight hours, again, I have kept that chance of thunderstorms in there because we could still see a thunderstorm or two. Keep in mind, it's going to be in that 30 percentile, so not everybody is going to see that thunderstorm threat, but those that do, it will be loud. Not necessarily worried about the severe threat at this point. I think our county inversion has maintained itself long enough to where we won't have to worry about that per se.
Yeah.
But for our folks in central and southeast Arkansas, we will be dealing with, especially late tonight as our aloft temperatures cool. There will be enough lift for a few scattered showers and storms. Again, non-severe for the most part, but they will be loud. Again, it's going to be a warm night. It's going to be a mild night. Temperatures in the 50s across the state. Some of us may not even get out of the 60s overnight. Now, obviously, where we've seen rainfall in Texas, you will have what's called a cold pool. That's why we do expect temperatures to be a little bit cooler in southwest Arkansas and west Arkansas, because you will be having that rain-cooled air moving into this part of the state. This is a key factor in this. How much rain-cooled air moves into the state overnight?
And how much moisture do you recover tomorrow and going in tomorrow night? And that's something model day is not going to pick up. That's something that you're going to have to rely on surface ops. That's something we won't be able to answer until until Friday morning. That's just how it is. So there's just stuff for tonight. We've already gone over that. So let's talk about the forecast for our folks in northern Arkansas here. So obviously Friday's been declared a weather alert day. This is going to be an event that not every single person's going to see storms. There's going to be a hit and miss type of event, but whoever sees those storms will likely see the potential of significant severe weather. Daytime highs tomorrow near 80. Friday, 79, 80 degrees. I'd be willing to bet that probably, depending on how much sun we can actually manage to get on Friday, temperatures may be a little warmer than what we're going with right now. And then the front of boundary moves through on Saturday. Breezy conditions, by the way. Behind that front of boundary is moving to Friday and Saturday. Gorgeous end of the week and early next week before we have yet another storm system to deal with as we move into the middle and late part of next week. A little early to determine if we're going to deal with severe weather, but we will keep an eye on that. Overnight lows near 60 tomorrow night, falling to the 30s by the weekend, and then back into the 50s as we move into next week here. Derek?
And Cameron, one thing I want to mention, especially, and then obviously as we go into Central Arkansas, weather alert day on Friday. But that being said, the chances may be a little less here, especially south of I-40, than what they are, say, in North Arkansas. Again, we still have that level 2 and level 3 risk, so it is still a weather alert day. So that is what we are going with. The storm coverage does remain in question, but any storm that goes up on Friday will be severe. Again, highs in the 80s early on. We fall down into very still spring-like air. Very March's highs in the 60s and 70s, lows in the 40s. Then we warm up next week into those 70s once again. Now, one thing I want to mention is Thursday night of next week, data does indicate lows down in the low 30s. So, We know there's a system. We know there's a cold front coming in. We know there's going to be frost potential behind that, especially for North Arkansas and West Arkansas. So don't plant yet either. I know everybody's getting that urge to plant. It's not time to plant just yet because, especially for my folks in Central and Northern Arkansas, we still had that threat of a frost and or a freeze through about late March into the first part of April. My thing has always been Easter before you plant.
Yep.
For Southern Arkansas, though, I think things will be a lot better.
Yeah, I still wouldn't do it until Easter. That's just how we grew up because it's 9 times out of 10 in Central and North Arkansas is dealing with it. At some given point, it's going to sneak its way down into Southern Arkansas. So I would just wait until after Easter for everybody across the area here. That's just a game plan with that. Let's talk about Southern Arkansas actually here. So for tonight, we've got some showers, possibly not a thunderstorm or two. I honestly think that cap is going to hold strong tonight. Based off of what I've seen so far, what's going to happen is the severe storms down there in East Texas is actually going to send what we call substance or even more capping across the area. And that's just going to bring the sinking air across the area that may actually prevent even storms from going up overnight. So we'll keep an eye on it. We're still going to keep that 30% down there just to be on the safe side. Mid-80s as we move into tomorrow and especially on Friday. I think the best shot of seeing some severe weather is going to be for our folks in southeastern Arkansas. But like I said before, we don't know exactly where those storms are going to initiate along the dry line. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then beautiful weekend. We get into early next week. Temperatures back near 80. We'll keep an eye on the severe weather threat potential as we move in the mid part of next week. 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with a frost potential behind this, there will be some sort of severe threat you will have to contend with. It's just too early to talk about that at this current time here. Overnight lows in the 60s, falling into the 40s by the weekend, and then back near 60 as we move into mid to late next week here.
Welcome to spring in Arkansas.
Definitely. So that is all we got for you guys this evening. We'll continue to keep you guys updated right here. Your source for all things Arkansas weather.